Welcome to the Franchising 360 Show, the only show that takes you inside the world of franchising, with hosts Tim Parmeter and Danielle Wright.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 Show brought to you by Fran Coach. I'm Tim Parmeter, and alongside me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
Danielle and I are here to give you a 360-degree view of the franchising industry. We're going to talk to you all about the things you need to know if you should become a franchise owner, and then how to find the best one, little tips and tricks how to be successful as franchise owners. And even at times, we're going to talk to how do you take your existing business and turn it into a franchise. Who knows? It might be the next McDonald's. So we have a guest coming on to today. Excited to talk about with this one is one of our franchise partners at Fran Coach, one of our really premier ones, but also kind of cool because he's also a franchise owner. So we can kind of talk about both sides.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see why he decided to do that.
Yeah, right? Like you've kind of seen the inside and you still become a franchise owner, yeah. Right? So we're always excited. Best part of this show, week in, week out, is getting me a thesaurus, so I stopped saying excited.
That'd be great.
But the Friday franchise fun fact with Danielle, which is still amazingly sponsored by no one.
Okay, so in honor of this week's guest, here's our franchise fun fact. If you had to guess, what U.S. city has the largest home service ecosystem in franchising?
Largest city.
No, I didn't say largest city.
City has the largest. Read that again. I'm getting this right. I'm not going to be told wrong today.
If you had to guess, what U.S. city has the largest home service ecosystem in franchising?
May I see your card for a minute?
No. So you got to know anyways. You already know the answer.
I don't know.
Really?
Dallas.
Are you really playing?
I really have no idea what the answer is.
Waco is actually one of the top franchising cities per capita in the country.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
I said in honor of the guest, I gave you a clue.
Guess where our guest is based?
I gave you a clue.
Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas.
Okay. So
there you go.
Because all of this guest's 19 brands are all there.
Yes.
And it's weird. There's a few other home service related franchisors that are there. Yeah.
Fact. He's actually one of the top franchising cities per capita in the country. Okay. It's right here.
All right.
On the card.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Well, we're going to talk to.
But that was a good fact, right?
That was a great fact, and once I've gotten one right, I think that's maybe.
Yeah, it's less than 1%. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was on a 1-game winning streak there for a while. So
we can't all be perfect.
No, we cannot. But what we can have is amazing guests, and we've got Brian Woods, who is the Group Vice President at Neighborly Brands, coming on to talk about Neighborly, a couple key components of their franchise system that is really cool. And again, he's also a franchise owner, so we might get a peek into what the heck made him do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got that and a lot more here on the Franchising 360 Show when we come back. All right, we are back on the Franchising 360 Show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright, and joining us on the other side of the table is the Group Vice President for Neighborly Brands, Mr. Brian Woods. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You are saying that now.
I really want someone to say, I really didn't want to be here.
Yeah, like you forced me to be here.
Why would I lie? I am happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here.
Thank
Can
you
you not tell?
Yes, I love the energy.
Excited.
I know, and really thank you. We've known you forever, and just always have a great deal of respect for everything you do and how you do it. So thanks for coming in and joining us. We've got a whole bunch of things about Neighborly to talk about, but I always like hearing stories, and I don't know your story of how you got.
Who the heck are you, and why are you in franchising?
Yeah. Why are you sitting here? How'd you get here?
Who's Brian Woods?
Who are you?
That's a deep question.
This?
Yes, that's a very, very good question. So, just a quick, summary of myself. So Brian Woods, I am currently the Group Vice President of Franchise Development for Neighborly Brands. We'll get into Neighborly in a second, but we're the largest franchisor of home services. I am responsible for leading the franchise development efforts for 7 of our 19 brands. And my story is a little unique into getting a franchise. I've been with Neighborly for a little over 4 years now. Prior to coming to Neighborly, I worked at Motel 6, where I was.
You kept the light on.
I kept the light on. Yes, we kept the light on for about 6 years there. Another common 6 there. So I was there for 6 years and had a couple different roles. Started more in a strategic role, but then actually transitioned over to pure franchise development. Okay. And that's where I first got my true experience into the franchise development world. Prior to franchising, so about 10 plus years in franchising as a whole. Okay. Prior to coming into franchising, I actually was a finance guy, right? I went to school, got a finance degree. Started in New York on Wall Street doing investment banking.
Congratulations.
And thank you,
means
I
you're
guess.
Smart. I can't sit at this table anymore.
It's why he's always so well dressed.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So I started out there at Wall Street for a couple years and then transitioned out of Wall Street and just actually did some corporate finance roles. And then went back to grad school to get another finance degree, believe it or not, and came out and started doing corporate strategy. So that's how I got into the franchise world, through that strategy role, which then transitioned over to franchise development. Mm-hmm. So being at Neighborly for 4 years, right, having the opportunity to change lives through franchising, and part of my role is to talk about the benefits of franchising, business ownership, and I'm just listening to what I'm telling these candidates, right, every day. And this is so powerful, and how to, create a legacy and build, financial wealth, everything like that, that I felt like it was something I wanted to do for myself and my family personally, right? So about a year and a half ago, I actually put on a second hat, went from franchisor to franchisee.
Wow.
And I am a franchise owner of the Corporate Cleaning Group franchise, right? Nice. So it's a commercial cleaning franchise, and I've been doing that for the last year and a half. So
congratulations!
Thank you very much. It's going really well. I don't sleep, because Neighborly keeps me 100 miles and running, and then when I get off, I'm running around with the business there.
Yes.
So, but it's very fulfilling, right? And the thing about it, I just wish I knew about franchising and this business years ago.
Right. How many times have you heard other people say the same thing?
Same thing, right? Yeah. And again, it just adds more perspective, right? Because for me, going to college, having a career in finance and just working in a lot of big Fortune 500 companies, you get really comfortable with the, stability, right? Not understanding about, whether my check is going to be different from this week or things like that. And I just never felt like I had the courage to be a franchise owner. And honestly, after being around Neighborly and going to our conventions and speaking with our franchise owners and just hearing their stories, and they weren't that much different from mine, right? And I was like, the only difference between them and me is that they had the courage to go and do it. Yeah. So, put my big boy pants on and took a leap of faith, and it's actually been working out pretty well.
That's awesome. Now, we tried that; it didn't work out.
You had your kind of inspiration from the courage of all the franchise owners, but you also are helping all these people become franchise owners for the first time and in franchising for the first time.
Correct.
How do you see people kind of get that courage of learning? Because it's exciting, but it is a little terrifying as you're going through this. How do you see people get over that?
A lot of it stems from the process that franchising gives, that support system, right? So when I'm talking to candidates, that's the risk mitigator to me, right? To be able to say, hey, look, we have a proven successful model that allows you to follow it, and it actually helps you a lot, pretty much ramp up faster than someone who maybe not have that same system, right? So I always give this statistic, right? After 5 years of business, if it's an independently owned business, only 50% of those businesses are still in business after 5 years, right? Okay. As opposed to a franchise business, after 5 years, over 85% of those businesses are still in business. So that success rate increases substantially when you actually use a franchise model. So that's one of the ways that a lot of people can get more comfortable with it, because they have that support system, right? And then the second one is making sure that they validate and speak to current owners, right? Because there is someone that has been in their shoes, whether they're what we call a corporate refugee, right? Someone who's leaving the corporate ranks, or they're a serial entrepreneur who's never did a franchise. There's someone that has walked in their shoes And the more that they hear those stories from people that took that leap of faith and say, hey, look, I still woke up and I still have a house.
Right.
You know, my business is still going, right? It just
Still have food on the table.
Yeah.
Kids are still going to school. Everybody's dressed.
Everyone's
like we're
dressed, and they're good, right? So those stories pretty much gives them the comfort that, hey, look, you know, these folks are very similar to myself.
Yeah.
This model has been around for, like with Neighborly, we've been around for 40 plus years. This is a very successful, proven model. Those things have been what we found to helpful to get people over that finish line.
Wow.
I love it. What are the brands that you are working with at Neighborly?
Okay, so out of the 19 brands, my brands are all repair brands. So these are going to be brands and services that repair the home. So we'll start with Mr. Rooter. Mr. Rooter is a plumbing business, right?
Okay.
We have Mr. Electric, which pretty much provides electrical services to the home. We have Mr. Appliance, the only appliance repair franchise in the country, right? That
We
focuses.
kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we love that one. So every home has 6 to 8 appliances, and
Yes.
you know, half of them go out after 2 or 3 years. So most people are familiar with Mr. Appliance, right?
Yep, we've used them.
Yeah, there you go. I've used about all of them, to be honest. The next one, Mr. Handyman. So Handyman services, right? They do kind of, I call them the jack of all trades. They do a little bit of everything. Then we have AirServe. AirServe is HVAC, heating and cooling. And then we have Glass Doctor.
Okay.
Glass Doctor actually has 2 business models,
Yes.
right? So Glass Doctor has a home and business concept, which is primarily focused on glass within the home. So that'll be shower stalls, you know, windows, things like that, right? And then you have auto, right? So kind of, you know, windshields. If someone cracks a windshield, breaks a windshield, Glass Doctor can go either, you know,
Glass
to the
Doctor
business.
Replace Doctor. How's it? It's none of the same thing as the other one, but no.
Yeah,
I
it
just
is the
learned-
one. I know the name, but I won't say it.
Yeah, we're
but
not
it's
we're
like
not
that.
saying it, but
No.
I just learned that about Glass Doctor honestly not too long ago. For all the
About
time
the auto?
that it was split.
Yes, yeah. You have to actually choose which one.
Yeah.
And one time you
Really?
were able to get both, but now, in order to get the emphasis and focus
Yeah.
on one of the verticals, you
Right.
start with one and really
and
build
then
that
build
out.
in. Okay.
That's correct.
Did
So
we stop him on all of his brands? Did he get to all of them?
the last one, there was one more because I was keeping
Yeah, I
track.
know.
right?
I was like, I lost count.
Yeah, that was 6. The 7th one is Precision Garage Door. So they repair garage
Yes.
doors
And if you watch TV in the morning, you probably are going to see a commercial somewhere about precision
About
garage
precision.
doors.
Well, because let's
we-
clarify.
okay.
You live
Okay.
in Tampa.
Right.
Yes.
That's where
That's-
it started.
They're
Yes.
massive there.
So you
Yes.
actually see a lot of precision commercials just because they've been there.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
roll
I don't
that
see
out
them.
there.
I'm in Texas. I don't see them, but I know they're there.
Yes.
Oh,
All right, I know they're
goodness,
there.
They're way heavy in Tampa.
Oh, yeah.
But then
In
that tells you
Florida.
how old we are that we're actually watching TV with commercials. So.
I just thought you guys graduated from high school.
Oh,
no?
you're so cute. Yeah. No. No.
And
Now we have to go to break. So
now
here
have
we
to go to
are.
break. So Brian come up with some more great jokes about that. But we've got a key element of Neighborly that I don't think gets talked about enough, and I really want to be able to share this when we come back here on the Franchising 360 show. Hey, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter alongside Danielle Wright. And our guest from Neighborly Brands, Mr. Brian Woods.
Got that?
Yes, I do have that. So all these different things within Neighborly, tons of support. One thing I know you guys are really even kind of enhancing within the brands is the work with veterans.
Yes.
And so talk about kind of some of the things Neighborly is doing there to help our veterans get in to be franchise owners and then do well once they are.
Yeah, Neighborly is obviously one of the founding members of VetFriend, right? This is a IFA, sanctioned, program which is geared towards getting veterans into business ownership. So Neighborly is a founding member of that. We also give discounts to start off some of the things we do initially, which is to reduce that barrier of entry for veterans to be able to come in on the franchise fee, right?
Yeah.
Give a percentage off of the franchise fee. And then we also give support from from the process perspective, right? We're one of the only franchisors that actually have a dedicated person for our veterans, right? His name is Tommy Jones. He's our director of veteran affairs, and he is responsible for connecting and talking to all of our veteran candidates as they go through our process. A veteran himself, he has that ability to connect with those owners and be able to answer questions that they may have as they go through this important transition. So as he goes through the process with them, it doesn't stop once they actually get into Neighborly. He actually continues to work with them once they actually get going in their business. You know, one of the things that he definitely works with them on is to get certified as a veteran-owned business, right? So making sure they get that certification for those benefits, and then also how to recruit and hire other veterans within that business that veteran is having. So it's one of the biggest, initiatives that we have. We have a lot of investment because we believe in it, right?
Yeah.
My family, I have a lot of veterans in my family, as many as most people do. So we want to make sure we do our part to attract veterans into Neighborly and make sure once they're in Neighborly that they're positioned for success in the long term.
Well, because you talk about how, and again, in franchising in general, veterans turn into very good franchise owners typically, right? And so you're taking all of that, but also then being able to then hire veterans regardless of the brand that's a great kind of extension of that program.
Absolutely. Because there's veterans in all parts of the business, whether it's vendors, right? Sometimes a vendor or a service that they need, that veteran can connect from a veteran perspective, and there could be different, terms and conditions that can help both sides, right, do business. So that support network, and we get a lot of feedback from the veterans that go through this process. They really appreciate Neighborly's, commitment to making sure that they are getting what they need in order to make that transition into business ownership.
And I generally like that step by step by step. They don't do well when you take them outside of that comfort zone. So
That's correct.
Being able to, that's a hard thing to do as a franchise, if you were a baby brand, to provide all of that support. So how many would you say, how many owners in the system are veteran?
I would say, I think it's probably anywhere between, I'll give a percentage, I think it's like between 15-20%.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of veteran owners across all 19 brands, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of veterans, and we continue to add more to that every single year that we continue. We go and recruit for them, right? We have representation going to some of the events that veterans are attending when they're coming out of the service, and making that transition. We're there recruiting and making sure that they know all about Neighborly and opportunities with us.
That's awesome.
So talk about maybe something else within Neighborly that I guess you'd really want to share from a support standpoint, that because it's so big and all the different brands, a way that you're able to really help franchise owners. Again, they still got to do the work, right?
Absolutely.
But be able to get off to a good start.
Yeah. One of the other big advantages of Neighborly is our Pro Trade Net assistance, right? So Pro Trade Net is our group of preferred vendors that provides all goods and services to our franchise owners. So Neighborly, we are the largest franchisor of home services. We have over 5,500 franchise owners, right? So that gives us a lot of purchasing power to negotiate really good terms and conditions for all types of things that they need, right? One of the things that we really see that our owners take advantage of is insurance, right? Health insurance, because a lot of times people are coming from, corporate jobs or jobs that have insurance.
That is a big concern, is like, what am I going to do? We just had that this week. Like, what do I do with insurance?
Yes, and one of our vendors in our network, they're insurance carriers, right? Not only are they looking for insurance for their employees, right, for their business, but they can also get insurance for themselves, right? So being able to take advantage of that, and that program is almost like a cash back program, right? Because it gives discounts and rebates back to the franchise owners, right? So it's the more services and goods that you buy out of the Pro Trade Net system, the more discounts you're going to get, right? A little under $100 million in discounts across all of our franchise owners, and then a little less than $9 million in cash rebates. So cash rebates are checks, right? Everything that you're buying, we're writing a check back. And one of the cool benefits of the rebates is if you're using it and maximizing the Pro Trade Net benefit, you're going to be able to offset some of the royalties that you pay to Neighborly, right? So there's a lot of advantages when you're using the Pro Trade Net.
All the things you have to run your business, you're getting at a discount, and then by buying all those things, you're also then getting rebates.
Absolutely,
right? So,
absolutely.
And I've heard some stories in the past of like the annual kind of reunion for Neighborly, and people are up there with like the big checks for the rebates, which is that's unheard of.
Absolutely, because they earned it, right? I mean, it's not a profit center for Neighborly, right? These are benefits that these owners were able to accumulate by being great participants in the program. So we want to make sure that they take full advantage of those discounts and savings. So And I think the only other thing I would just mention from a broad neighborly perspective is going to be our marketing, right? The fact that we have 19 brands, we have the ability to do a lot of cross-marketing across brands, have those brands within a certain territory, work with each other to come up with cross-marketing promotions and things like that. And then we're also, I know this is the buzzword now, AI. Everyone is wanting to know about AI and the technology, but Neighborly is really investing in the automation phase from an AI perspective to use data and analytics to ensure that we're marketing correctly to the end customer for our brands, right? We have so much data, right? One of our biggest brands is Housemaster, right? And Housemaster is a brand that focuses on home inspections. So we have all this data from a home perspective on what needs to be done to a home, right? So how can we utilize that kind of data to help us find great marketing tactics, right? Then there's also analytics that we use to be able to anticipate services that a customer may need. Right. So, for instance, if you guys are having issues with your refrigerator, right, and you call Mr. Appliance out, due to the analytics that we have, we know that you will probably need Mr. Electric maybe down the line. So there's going to be some intentional marketing towards you guys for Mr. Electric because we know by the data that we're going to anticipate this may be your next brand. So
awesome.
So wait, I have a question because we only have a few minutes before we go to break. If I'm a viewer watching this show and this is all wonderful, but Neighborly seems so big. Help me understand, how do you still have a personal touch point with them? That you feel like you're there with them, but you're so big. How do I know that I'm going to get taken care of?
Absolutely. I think the biggest asset that we have is our small kind of family approach because every brand has their own culture. They do a lot of things that's intimate to themselves, right? So going to the reunion, and Tim, you talk about the reunion. Our reunion is going to have a total of 4,000 people, right, across all the brands. It's a huge show and huge undertaking, right? But what happens is once that grand stage is over, all the brands then go into smaller rooms. And now that owner is now going to network with the other franchise brand owners of that same brand and getting to know them, right? And then taking it a step further, we have a lot of great support through our franchise business coaches, so that's more on a one-on-one basis. So you're going to get that support and that guidance from an operational standpoint through our franchise business coaches, through our local marketing specialist that's going to work with them. So we try to make it feel small, although we're a large organization. You're going to get that feel that it's tailored specifically for you.
Awesome.
Love it. Brian, always a pleasure chatting with you, and thanks so much for coming on tonight and talking to us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me again, and I mean it that time.
Because you didn't mean it before.
Before he wasn't sure. Afterwards, this wasn't so bad. So again, thanks to Brian Woods. That's Danielle Wright. I'm Tim Parmeter. We'll be right back on the Franchising 360 show. Thanks again for watching the Franchising 360 show, brought to you by Fran Coach. Danielle and I hope these episodes continue to educate you on the franchise industry. In between our episodes, if you would like to learn more about franchising and the ways in which Fran Coach can help, there are a few places you should check out. First, be sure to listen to the award-winning Franchising 101 podcast. You can find this on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Next, check out the Fran Coach YouTube channel, Fran Coach for You. You can catch past episodes of the Franchising 360 show, plus tons of other content. If you like to read, we encourage you to check out the book, Becoming a Franchise Owner. And finally, when you are ready to take that first personalized step and explore franchise industry further, please reach out to our amazing team at Fran Coach. There is never any fee for our service, so let us help you create your better tomorrow. Until next week, for Danielle Wright, I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show.